Welcome and thanks for joining us today for a new knowledge session. This is our series of professional development workshops to support business owners, nonprofits, and citizens not only in Washington County, but around the Commonwealth. My name is Billy Roberts with Locus, and if you're not familiar with our organization, we are a CDFI, which is a community development financial institution, and we provide lending, investing, and community innovation services. We're happy to partner with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the Town of Abingdon to present this business and organizational skill development. This program was started in 2014 to support the Washington County Business Challenge competitors and has become one of the oldest running business training programs in Virginia. And then she'll edit that. I'll read that all out and she'll edit that later. Today's session is recorded, and before we get started, we'll just note, in order to keep the webinar flowing and stay within our 1 hour goal, that we will mute everyone, but we do want to hear from you. So if you have any questions, or I'll leave them unmuted actually, because I know you guys have some interactive stuff. So you guys will be unmuted this time. And Ilsa will guide you guys through that. But if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the chat. I'll be monitoring that as well. So I would like to welcome Ilsa. Tell me your last name. Lurzer and Alex Veatch with Letterpress. So a little bit about Letterpress. Letterpress Communications is a boutique marketing agency based out of Farmville, Virginia, with offices in Marion and Stanton, Virginia. Letterpress specializes in rural community-powered marketing, serving a wide range of industries across the Commonwealth and into North Carolina. By focusing on community, Letterpress helps their clients leverage the power of their teams and their stories to create growth and ultimately good for their community. Ilsa Lurzer,
you got it.
A little bit about her. Nearly 10 years ago, Ilsa took a Longwood Small Business Development Center course and ultimately founded Letterpress Communications, leaving her reporting career behind. Very cool. Ilsa has a passion for storytelling and strategic thinking, which is the core of Letterpress approach. And a little bit about Alex. Alex joined the Letterpress team over 3 years ago as contract of creative, and now serves as the creative director. Based out of Marion, Virginia, Alex has a passion for rural communications and economic development. Over the last 15 years, she has served organizations across Southwest Virginia in a wide range of industries, including higher education, mental health, tourism, community development, and outdoor recreation. Also, just let me, before I give it away to you guys, Sandy really wanted me to be sure to mention what a great job that you guys did last night with the Washington County Business group. And she's just so thankful for this partnership with you guys and the way that you support our business community, not only in Southwest Virginia, but in the Commonwealth. And she stated that she thinks that with your focus on the rural areas, this professional development series and the partnership is just a really great fit, and she really, really appreciates you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Take it away, guys.
I appreciate that kind introduction, Billy. It means a lot. Hello, I'm Ilsa. It's great to be here. That shout out about last night is all for Alex because she taught the class last night. But it's lovely to be here. A couple of years after starting Letterpress, I started doing similar courses to this for our local Small Business Development Center. And then that's ebbed and flowed with COVID and things like that. So it's really fun to be able to do it again now. So I want to give y'all a quick high altitude of what we're going to do today. I'm going to be joining y'all for the first 25 minutes of this presentation. And then I have a family medical thing I need to go to. So I'm going to talk about the branding piece of what we're talking about. And then Alex is going to take it from there to talk about the rest. We tag teamed on this last week planning. But first, what I'd like us to do is do introductions. So if y'all are willing, I'd love to hear a little bit more about those on the call. I think that's always helpful. So Billy, thank you for letting us leave it unmuted. What I will do is have everyone just go around quickly and tell us who you are, who you're with, And then for you, what does marketing success look like in one sentence, right? So very quickly, I'm going to pull up the participant list here. One second. And I'm going to call on a name. And actually, if you pull up the participant list, Billy, can everyone see the participant list? I
I'm
think
not for sure. I have no
yeah.
idea. Can you guys see it?
Someone
Let's see what they
no,
say.
no, can't see.
No,
Amanda
Amanda
says
says
you
they
can.
can.
Yeah, cool.
Uh,
Um, cool. I'm going to go down the list in alphabetical order, so that should be fun.
okay.
I'll start first with.
Oh, real quick, Amanda's saying that she doesn't have the option to speak.
Oh,
Okay. Let me
okay.
see.
Let me check.
Ask all to unmute. See.
It might be. Let's see here.
Here, I'm gonna make um I'm gonna make you a co-host, Alex.
Okay.
Can you help me? Because I'm using my phone. My computer was acting up
Sure.
earlier, being
Yeah.
slow. So maybe
It's
you can
fun.
see something I can't.
It might
Okay.
be because of
Oh,
how this was set up. This is what we'll do because there's another interactive moment coming up. So while Alex and Billy work on this, if everyone could go in the chat and put your name will be in the chat, but if you could put who you're with and then like a quick sentence about what success looks like. It can be just even like a couple of words. Don't like write a paragraph for us, but let's have just everyone do it in the chat really quick while they're working on problem solving. And that way we can keep going and then hopefully have some interaction later on. So in the chat, put who you're here with, and then also put what success looks like to you. And we'll do it that way. David Dalton says his name is mute. That made me laugh. Okay, fantastic. We have Megan here, who's with Northeast State Community College, and for her, success looks like successful storytelling. Tom says from United Real Estate, tax effective advancement is what success looks like. I think I understand that right. We have Alicia, I think I'm saying that right. And she's at Feel Good Berries and Bowls. Oh, I like the diversity of representation we have of different types of organizations on the call. This is going to make this fun. David, Creeper Inn Lodging. Nice. So, yes, more traffic to his website is what success looks like, and increasing the number of guests at our short term lodging. Yes, David, I like you're getting at something that's really interesting when you think about success. There's a tension between more visits to your website, but ultimately you also just need people showing up to spend the night, right? So we have like kind of some numbers that are at the top of the funnel that matter somewhat, but the numbers that really matter are the increased sales or increased lodging or things like that. Hopefully more website views means you're getting to that bottom most important business number, right? Which is stays, but there's all sorts of ways of looking at that success along the spectrum. So I think I'd like how you differentiated those two different types of measuring success. April's here from Blue Ridge Crossroads, SBDC. Hello, April. We've done some work with Blue Ridge Crossroads a couple of years ago. Businesses that generate customers and sales. So yeah, similar looking at that bottom line number of more customers, more sales. Diana with Summer Roof and Cellar. So for her, having a legacy she can pass down to her children. And I think that's really, so for you, it's also sustainability. And I would guess it's not just about immediate sales, but it's about consistent, profitable sales, right? That are going to ensure this company is going to endure. I really like that. Tom's clarifying. He's talking about tax efficiency in real estate. And for Alicia, for Good Berries and Bold, constant flow of business to our ghost restaurant with happy, well-paid employees. Oh, I like that. So you even went further. Okay, we had one success up here of talking about website visitors. And then down here, the next success is someone staying or spending money. But then there's like the positive overflow impact that comes from that, right? Which is being able to pay employees well. So I love like we've gone from marketing the business success, and then the community positive impact below it. I like the way y'all think. Deborah's here. She's the mayor of, Alex Dungannon.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Success for her would be have more businesses in her town, right? So people being excited to locate their businesses there, the businesses there staying there. Shane with Visit Withville. So awareness of Withville and increased revenue. So I'm guessing also at lodging nights, people eating at restaurants, things like that. Amanda here with Emery and Henry. We've met before, Amanda. And then for her, it's that people actually, her getting in front of eyeballs, or people hearing that message, getting the word out. Tiffany, owner of Carefully Anchored, a virtual assistant business. She's down there at that bottom of the success piece, the good impact, which I love, which is impacting her community through education and bringing clients' vision to fruition. So for her success, it's helping clients do what they want to get done. Danielle, United Company Foundation. So for her, success is communication, just being able to communicate. I love it. And let's see, we're just down to Sarah with the clinic manager for Crossroads Medical Mission, which is a nonprofit medical clinic. Success is reaching more patients within our community and spreading our mission further. Oh, I love this. Thank you guys for sharing. It was Alex's idea to ask that question. Alex, do you want to share really quick too, since you're on this call? And Billy, I'm going to have you share too really quick, since y'all are on this call too. We already know who you're with, but what does success look like in communications for you?
Sure. I actually shared last night with the Washington County Business Challenge group, because they're all small business owners, that success for me this year has looked like being able to take 2 vacations a year, one for adventure and one for fun and rest. So I think your personal successes and your business successes can meld together in important ways.
Yeah. Billy, what does success look like for you from a communication standpoint?
Sorry, I'm trying to navigate all these things.
Yeah.
I think it's just being able to fully express and to have it come across the importance of community and making a difference for our future, and the importance of planning and strategizing instead of just sprinkling little ideas here and there, and then being able to share all of that information well with other communities.
So yeah, for you, success is really about honing and clarifying your message so other people can perceive and get it and like really ingest it into what they do. That's fantastic.
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you, Billy. So a little bit about Letterpress. As Billy shared, I started Letterpress. It's been 9 years now. I actually did a SBDC 8-week business startup course while I was still a reporter, where we went over like accounting, marketing, all those things. And I thought I was going to be a solo PR professional. But it turns out there was a lot of people in rural Southside Virginia that needed communications help. And I knew friends that knew how to do it, right? So we ended up accidentally starting a marketing agency. And success for me started by thinking about wanting to help my rural community really celebrate itself. We often really focus on brain drain and losing population and our challenges and issues. And I had moved away to different places, Southern California and Northern Virginia, and I realized we had a lot to celebrate and enjoy that we didn't really promote or talk about. So I really wanted to help my community get excited. As I grew, it also became about wanting to be an employer. I was like, I want to be an amazing employer. We have a lot of working parents who need flexibility so people can have careers where they're having positive impact, they're getting paid well, and they have the flexibility to be with their families and live a life that they want to live. So for me as a founder, success has changed over time as I've grown and morphed, and it's been pretty exciting. We primarily work with community revitalization organizations, so like Locust, like SBDCs or economic development or tourism groups, about helping our communities really bring in those revenue dollars or prepare for career tech education, those sorts of things. So that's what our passion is really about and the type of work we love to do. Next slide, Alex. So I'm going to take y'all through, this is in 10 minutes, I'm going to give you, if you take nothing else out of this, what I see is kind of the core way to think about marketing, which is being clear about who you are, being clear about who you're speaking to, and then what you say and how you say it, right? I'm going to take 10 minutes for this, hopefully, we'll see. But if you get these things and you write them on a piece of paper and you keep it in front of you by your computer, then most other things you do are going to fall into place, right? So I love starting at the core, at the center with the why, and then going from there. So I'm going to take you through a quick exercise about how we talk about who you are, who you speak to, and what you say. 10 minutes, it's going to be fast. Here we go. So who you are in 3 words. When I first started Letterpress, I had to choose a name, and I thought a lot about my competition, who else was doing what I was doing, and there was a lot of freelancers out there. There was a lot of people doing communications at the lowest cost, right? Like, oh, you can do, you can have all your social media run for $150 a month, or things like this. And I realized I didn't want to be that type of company. I didn't know exactly why, but I also knew myself well. So the 3 words that kind of really resonated to me when I started Letterpress were handcrafted. We actually use that a lot in our marketing. Personalized, and local/community. Those were the things that were really important to me. And I want to show y'all, we no longer use this business card. You can't, oh, the light kind of messes it up. But this was my original business card. You can't see, it's an actual literal letterpress business card. And it's like 1/4 of an inch thick. It's ridiculously thick. I would tell people you can break into your house with this business card. But I'm showing you this business card because I want to point out that a lot of times when people think about their brand, they just think about what their logo is, right? But those 3 words you want to convey across any channel in any way. So my business card was really thick. It was very unique. One of my words was handcrafted. So it's handcrafted. Someone had to custom do this. It was done locally, but people would say, oh, I love your card. I'm like, oh, Longwood University students made this for me in my hometown. And it was very unique. So like those words, that handcrafted piece, that personalized, that local even came across in my business card when I was talking about letterpress. So I want to just point that out when you're thinking about your 3 words. It's not just about like what you say to customers, but it's how you show it through your signage, through your physical material. Alex is going to get to this in more detail. But what I want everyone to do is really quickly, we'll do the chat again because of our 10 minutes. Put the 3 words you would want to use to describe your business. If nothing else, what 3 words do you want people to experience when they work with you, when they receive your services, when they look at your website, when they read your social media? For you, what would those 3 words be? I just want to challenge you to think about it for a second and drop it in the chat. While people are putting that in the chat, I will point out that something that can be really fun if you're feeling stuck or you're not sure, or if you've been doing what you've been doing for a long time, is to actually reach out to 7 or 8 of your favorite clients or customers or your guests that come to your inn over and over again, and ask them how they would describe you. And you might be really surprised at what words come up that resonate with you that you hadn't even thought of. A word that people use to describe us often is fun, which I had not ever thought to use. But that is one that a lot of our clients tend to like. Thank you, Tom. Informative, educated, honest. I like that a lot. So that honest approach. Anyone else have 3 words for us they'd like to share? Nice. Here they come. Tiffany, reliability, authenticity, unique. Quality, learning, success from Megan. David, cleanliness, convenient, memorable. Oh, I like the memorable, right? That gets that unique, but in a different way. Alicia, delicious. Yes, that has to be a critical word. That means like on your website, you need to have pictures that look delicious, right? Or on your social media, like if someone is like, I want to eat that, right? Even if I can't right now, my mouth is watering. Impactful, community, resourceful. Yes. So as you're thinking about these words, just think about whether it's your social, your website, anywhere you're communicating, is this communicating the three words, right? I know it's can seem kind of gimmicky, but a lot of people create visions, they create mission statements, stuff like that, but then they can't remember them. And I've found like the three words makes it really easy to actually get across what you want to do. I shared with you where we were at the beginning with our three words. Now we have a tagline, which is community powered marketing, because over the 9 years, we've realized that's where we really shine. And that's what makes us really unique from other agencies, is this approach to leveraging relationships and community to bring results and sustainability. So I think it's also interesting to note that those words over time can change or develop as your company grows. Hey, creamy dill pickle soup, y'all. If anyone's interested, I love pickles. You can never have too many pickles. Diana, thank you for sharing. Elevated, comfortable, local, fantastic. Okay.
And we forgot Shane. Shane said authentic, accessible, honest.
Oh, thank you, Shane. I appreciate that. Sorry. And then Deborah, community oriented, friendly. And there's the fun. I think fun is important, especially if you tend to be in a field where it's more stodgy or uptight, that's an important, unique. Danielle, giving, community, impactful. Very good. Alex, if you could go to the next slide. Thank you for calling out the people I missed.
No worries.
So the first thing I said is what you say. The next thing I want you to think about is who you speak to. And we'll spend whole months with clients doing surveying, creating customer personas, these sorts of things. But I think it's really important to really think about who your ideal client is. And by that, I mean your client or your customer that doesn't complain about your rate, that tells about you to all of their friends, right? Gets really excited and says, oh, have you heard about this? That enjoys your services, that can be honest with you sometimes, maybe gives you the gift of a complaint, but it not in a mean way, but says, hey, maybe this is way, that's a sign of, but that ideal customer, the customer that you would like to have more of. I think so often we focus on just more revenue or more sales, when it's more helpful or more reach, when it's more helpful to think about who's the ideal person I want to get this message that will continue advocating or broadcasting it out, or who's the ideal customer that's going to come back and then come back again next year and come back again the next year. Things like that. So I want you to think about your ideal customer. And if you've been in business or if you've been doing communications for your organization for a while, you may have someone that literally just pops up in your head. And I would encourage you not to dismiss that. Like I said, there's lots of really interesting ways that you can research and think about and validate your customer personas, they're called. But often I found they end up just reaffirming what you already knew, right? Who your ideal is. So think about that person and think about where they live, where they get their news. You can even think about what kind of ice cream they like, right? Because thinking about that person as a real person makes all the difference. I'm sharing this picture because one of our clients, Greenfront Furniture, does advertising all across a multi-state region. And we have multiple personas for them, but they're based on real customers that come in. And one is named Barbara. This would be kind of like the mother to the right. Barbara does not have a full-time, she's probably in her 50s or maybe late 40s, let's say 50s or 60s. Her kids are in college. She doesn't have a full-time job. She has a household income of $250,000 or so because her husband's working as like the president of a place or a VP of a place or something like that. She has 2 homes, like a beach house or a lake house in addition to her house. And what's important about Barbara, what we found about Barbara when the real Barbara we know comes into shop, is she doesn't want her house to look like anyone else's house. She does not want to have the same dining room table as any of her neighbors, right? That would be like the epitome of bad. She trusts her own taste. She trusts her own style. She wants to be unique. Then we have Courtney right next to Barbara. Courtney is probably in her 30s or 40s. She has kids in school. She works, but her husband works too, and they probably work professional jobs. So they probably have a household income of anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000, right? They're doing well for themselves. She's overwhelmed. She's busy. She actually is very unlike Barbara because she loves like Magnolia Home or places like that. And she's excited to make her house actually look like the Magnolia magazine, right? Like she wants to be like Miss Gaines. So she's looking for someone to curate and put together a look for her so she doesn't have to work too hard, right? To find something super unique. This matters. This is important because Barbara is getting her news and her content from magazines, probably also from broadcast television like the Evening News or Jeopardy. She's reading Virginia Living magazine. So when we run ads in Virginia Living magazine, our messaging is geared towards our Barbara, right? So it's all about unique pieces. We're not using imagery that shows that we also do like farmhouse style, right? We're showing really unique pieces that people couldn't get anywhere else. Whereas our Courtney here, our younger lady, she's on Facebook a lot. She is getting her ads digitally, probably through blogs or digital display, things like this. She's getting her content in a totally different way. So the content and the messaging we do there is much more about achieving a look, right? Or we'll help educate you, right? Barbara doesn't want to be told she needs to be educated about design because she is her own design expert, right? But Courtney does. She wants to hear from the taste experts how to make something look, right? So knowing who you are, your 3 words, and then who you're speaking to is really critical, right? Because what you speak to your ideal customers based on what they need, what they're interested, where they're getting their content from. And Alice is going to talk about that later as you think about where your channels go. But it gets back to that core question of who I am and then who I'm speaking to. And so the next thing we said is who I am, who I'm speaking to, what do I say? So the slide for this, and this really doesn't require any preamble or introduction, is, let's see, we can, don't sell anything, be useful. Neither Barbara or Courtney are interested in being sold. Neither of them are looking through Virginia Living magazine to look at the ads. They want to read the stories. Well, maybe Virginia Living magazine, you are actually there to look at the ads a little bit. But if you're watching the news, you're not there to watch the ads. But for all of your customers, why it's really important to know who you're speaking to is because what you want to think about is, how can I actually help them? How can I provide information? How can I help them achieve what they want, right? How can I help them get there? So for Courtney, how are useful for her is giving her a lot of guidance. So Alex, if you can go to the next slide. This is an example of a blog we do for Greenfront. And we've talked a little bit, our Barbara has been coming to Greenfront for decades. So in this blog, we talk about the history of Greenfront and how Dickie Crawley started it and the space and all that stuff. But we also are giving, you'll notice this leather pro tip that talking about unprotected leather and what to do for it. We've found that our customers really love useful tips. We're not saying, oh, look at this leather sofa, it's half off, or come see us for Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day, right? We're saying, here's useful information for how to choose or pick something out, right? This modern leather piece, this section right here, we're talking about how people are using leather in unique ways right now. That chair in the middle, that alpaca chair, is the softest thing you ever touch. And my dog loves it, but I'm not going to spend $8,000 on an alpaca chair. I wish I could, but I'm not. That piece of information is useful to Barbara because she wants to know what the new kind of things that are available on the market to her, that someone else might not have that $7,000 chair, but she might want it, right? So that's a way that we're being useful to her. Once again, not by talking about sales or our product, any one particular product, but by genuinely providing useful information that can be valuable to the Courtney, to the Barbara. So I guess I did it in 15 minutes, not 10. But if you leave with nothing else, your 3 words, remembering who you are, and no matter what type of communication you're doing, repurposing that, thinking it, keeping in the back of your head everywhere. If you have other people doing communications for you, sharing it with them to make sure they're focused on it. Second, who you're speaking to. If you can always keep, and for most of our organizations, we just need one ideal client, right? We don't need 3 or 4 like Greenfront, right? keep that person, and hopefully it's a real person in your mind, and think, would they enjoy reading this? Would this be helpful to them? Would they actually stop and look at this? Think about that. And then think about how you're being like useful to them, right? How you're actually being helpful. Because once again, people don't like interruptions. They don't go to Facebook to see your ad. But if your ad can actually be helpful, then it's going to be memorable and it's going to create a great brand connection for you and the customer. Whew. How'd I do, Alex?
You did great. Perfect.
Thank you, guys. Alex will give y'all contact information at the end, but it was great sharing, and I look forward to staying connected with the new knowledge shares. And sorry, I have to run, get my mom to a doctor's appointment, but it's great to see you all.
All right. Thank you, Elsa. So now we're going to deep dive into what Elsa talked about. So as we're going through this, I want you all to keep your 3 words in mind. We'll continually reference back to them, but we're going to dive into how to take those 3 words and then really move it and put it into your content marketing. So we're going to start with branding. And I think Jeff Bezos says it the best. Your branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So your goal should be that those 3 words are so loud and clear in your branding that when you're not there to represent your brand, people are still saying those 3 words and they're feeling those 3 words. This is one of my favorite ways to look at branding. It's so easy to think of your branding as just your logo. Elsa mentioned that. So I think of it like an iceberg. There's all these things below the water that are contributing to your brand. And so if you take your 3 words, does your logo portray those 3 words? Do your fonts and colors portray those 3 words? I could do a whole presentation on the psychology of color. So one thing to look at is Google it. You'll find all kinds of great things when you Google the psychology of color. But you can find out what red means and white and pink and blue and green, and they all have different connotations, positive and negative. But seeing where your brand aligns with those colors, and what brands align with that too. Photos. So always best to use your own photos if you possibly can. But if you can't and you need to use a stock photo, does your stock photo portray those 3 words? Does your stock photo portray where you are and where you're located? We're actually doing 4 classes throughout the spring. Our next one will be involving a deeper dive into branding in Canva. But if you're not using Canva, Canva has some great stock photography. But I always encourage people to stop and look and say, does this feel like my business? Does this feel like my town? Does this feel like my region? We all know what our businesses and our communities look and feel like. So even selecting stock photos, making sure that they're aligning with your brand, aligning with where you are. Your tone and your messaging, do those go back to those 3 words? Does your customer service follow in those 3 words? So all of those things are contributors to your brand, and you want to make sure that you're always going back to those 3 words. So the basics, your channels, your audience, your content. So also touched on this with your audience, but we're going to start with channels because you need to know where you're trying to reach your audience. There are 3 types of communications channels, owned, earned, and paid. And we'll start with owned. If you want to unmute or drop in the chat, can anybody think of an example of an owned channel? And if we were in person, I would have candy or something to throw at you, but I don't. Sarah, email. That's a good, yeah, absolutely. Your newsletter is an owned channel. Your email, your constant contact, your MailChimp, any way you're reaching out to people. Any other ideas of owned channels? Commercials. Amanda, that's a good guess. I would actually put commercials in paid, but you do control your content there. So that is close to that website. Danielle, yes. So the way to define an owned channel, that's okay, Amanda. And paid advertising is the most exciting part of it. Blog, yes, Shane. So your own channels can be defined as anything that you control the content on. You are the sole owner of the content. Deborah?
Yeah.
I think we lost you. Okay. So your own channels are where you control your content. Your website is your number one owned channel. The content you're putting on your website, like your blogs, your newsletter. A lot of people would guess social media. That's kind of quasi owned and quasi paid. You control what you're putting on social, but you can't control necessarily how many people are seeing it. That algorithm isn't something that you can always, you can hack it a little bit, but you can't control it. So your own channels, again, are where you control your content. Any ideas on what an earned channel might be? There's kind of a hint in the picture. It's not as fun when there's no candy for me to give you for an answer. Your earned channels are what people are saying about you. So your number one earned channel is your word of mouth. Yeah, Diana, reviews, exactly. So word of mouth, people to people, people commenting in your social media posts, feedback, yeah, engagement on your social posts, reviews on review sites, Google Business, all of those things are earned. So those are, again, those things that people are saying about you when you're not in the room. And then paid, Amanda already guessed that one, commercials, anything that you're paying for. That could be a broadcast commercial, a print ad, a radio commercial, social media boosts or paid ads, digital display ads. And we talk about all of these things because a lot of us are in rural communities and it takes a little bit of everything to market our businesses in our communities. So broadcast, print, radio, those are all still viable ways to reach people, along with new media, paid placements on streaming radio, all those kinds of things factor into your paid channels. And these are in the order of importance. So as small business owners, we're all busy people, no matter what you're doing. If you had to focus on one thing, always focus on your own channels, making sure that is your foundation of your communications, that all of your content is there and you're keeping that up to date. And then you want to move into earned. So that's how your branding is being received by your customers, by your audience. And once you have those two in order, moving into paid. And so if you have to prioritize your time and your money, you want to think owned, earned, and then paid. Your target audience. Also covered quite a lot of ground on this, but just some more things to think of. Oh, got excited there. Just some more things to think about. The age of your audience, where they live. Is your audience gender specific? And it's okay to have a gender specific audience. Another way to think about it is, who are your competitors' target audience? Have you created that target persona? So just that picture that also showed of the green front target personas, the two of them, actually taking some time to look at stock photos and like actually put together a profile of that person can be super helpful when you're going to write content. Another way to look at it too is, who isn't your target audience? That can tell you a lot, just as much as defining your audience. And then content marketing. So content marketing is a strategic marketing. Oh, everything is in my way with Zoom. I can't read that. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. One of my favorite examples of content marketing, it's an older example. I heard this years ago, but it was about a pool company during the recession of '08. And this business owner was getting very discouraged because nobody was buying pools. We're in the middle of a recession. That's a luxury that people could not afford. And he didn't want to give up. So somebody suggested that he start writing some blogs. to get people to come to his website. And so he started to think about what questions his customers were frequently asking. And so we started a blog series writing about how to choose a pool. What conditions do you need for a below ground and an above ground pool? How much should you be saving for a pool? How long does it take to install one? What does your patio around your pool need to look like? What are different configurations, different things that you can do to create that kind of oasis in your backyard? And he started to get traffic to his website. People were reading the blogs. Again, not selling any pools, but when the recession ended, all of a sudden he had a ton of people who were ready to buy a pool because during the recession, they were thinking about it, they were dreaming about it, planning for it, but unable to do it. So your content marketing, again, is not selling something, it's being useful. And so thinking through like those pro tips with green front furniture, what can you tell people about your business, about your community, about your organization that is helpful to them, that will keep you top of mind the next time they need something? Content marketing is all about community. It's about relevance, brand and ideas versus products. It's people and stories, and telling people who you are in a way that connects with what they care about. And again, it's so important we put it in here twice. Don't sell anything, be useful. So once you have really thought through your 3 words, your channels, where you're going to be talking to people, how you're going to talk to people, who you're talking to, your target audience, that leads you to creating content. So we just talked about what content marketing is, but another way to look at it is creating content pillars. This is especially helpful with social media, but you can take all of your channels and wrap your content pillars around them. So with your blog post, with your newsletter, trying to hit these content pillars can be super helpful to make sure you're getting all of the information out about your business. And so those content pillars are typically promotional, educational, entertaining, and inspirational. And we like to throw in a 5th one, and that's community. So promotional content, I know we've got Creepers Inn Bed and Breakfast. So promotional content could be a sale for Valentine's weekend, or you're having a special run for Valentine's. Educational could be talking about your location and the Creeper Trail and the history of the Creeper Trail and why that's important, and how that factors into the town of Abingdon. Inspirational could be a quote about experiential lodging. It could be a video of somebody checking in and walking through the front door and kind of giving people that idea and that inspiration and excitement about coming to stay. And then entertaining can be any kind of content that's exciting and fun about your location or your business. And then community, one way to engage with others is to actually talk about your community. So talk about fellow business owners, talk about your location, your town, things that are happening, getting involved with the community. We talked a lot about this in the Washington County Business Challenge last night, that your marketing budget should include community events. If your town does downtown trick-or-treating, budgeting for all that candy and planning to be there and planning to do that, or planning to sponsor the local high school football team and have your logo on the banner in the stadium. Sharing those out as part of your content, but also planning to have that as part of your paid marketing is super important. Oh, I think we've got something in the chat. Oh, very good. They are offering a 3-night stay at the Creepers Inn and starting a blog this month. So very good. I'm glad I picked that example. So this kind of brings us to the end of our talk about branding, or talk about the foundations of marketing. So those foundations, your brand, your channels, your audience, your content, are leading us towards 3 more sessions over the spring. So we're going to be doing in March a deeper dive on branding and the use of Canva. We're kind of a different agency. We really lean into the use of Canva. I know if Sandy was here, she'd be super jazzed. She loves Canva. This presentation was made in Canva. So we have found this to be a very helpful, sustainable, and low-cost way to manage your branding and to have really professional visuals moving across your content, your channels. From there, in April, we're going to be doing a session on messaging and social media. So we'll take a deeper dive into that, and we're going to deep dive into the main channels: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we'll talk a little bit about TikTok as well. And then on May 1st, we're going to wrap it all up with how to measure success, measuring success across your own earned and paid channels. But I wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions. So does anybody have any questions? You can unmute or drop them in the chat. Thanks, Amanda. It was good to see you too. All right. If we don't have any questions, I will give you our last slide so you have my contact information and Ilsa's contact information. If you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. So feel free to reach out to us, and I will hand it back over to Billy.
Thank you so much, Alex. We want to thank you and Elsa for your time today and sharing your expertise with us. This is great information. I love the interaction between everybody, and your upcoming sessions look really cool. I love Canva too, by the way. It's really extremely helpful for all kinds of things. Thanks to each one of you for joining us today and for taking your time out of your busy schedules to participate and learning more about Letterpress Communications. We have a full list of upcoming new knowledge sessions scheduled through the spring. You can go to Virginia or vastartup.org to find out more about that. The next new knowledge session will be held on February 21st, and it's going to focus on how to leverage artificial intelligence to manage and grow your business. So that's a cool one. I may sit in on that. The AI stuff is really neat and helps me be so much more productive, and I don't even know how to use it well. So today's session has been recorded, and it'll be available to you guys on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator Facebook page, and of course on YouTube/new knowledge. There's a ton of really great information there. Over 170 workshop videos are available on demand. I hope you guys can join us for our next session in February, and please share with someone that could benefit from this session as well. As I know, Sandy will send out the recording and the slides to you guys. Thanks again. We appreciate you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.